Hey, it's your boy Karl from Cooking and Grilling with Karl, and in this video I'm making a Cajun shrimp and chicken pasta Alfredo right after this. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Alright, let's go over the ingredients. Right here I have some shrimp, some heavy cream, some cooking oil of your choice, some white wine, some Cajun seasoning, some black pepper, some crushed red pepper, salt, worcestershire sauce, fettuccine. I have some chunks of chicken breast. I have some diced onions, some fresh herbs, and some chopped garlic, some grated parmesan cheese, diced tomatoes, and cold unsalted butter. And that's all the ingredients for this recipe. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is season up the shrimp with the Cajun seasoning. Just mixing everything up, making sure everything is nice and coated. Alright, next up I'm seasoning my chicken breast chunks. Doing the same thing with the shrimp, mixing them up, making sure everything is nice and coated. Alright, in a preheated pan I added my oil. Now I'm adding my chicken. I'm doing the chicken first because that's going to take the longest to cook. And just spreading it out, making sure that all the chicken is able to touch the surface of the pan so I can get a nice crust on it. Alright, so the chicken, is pretty much developing that crust I'm looking for. So now what I'm going to do is, just for time purposes, just for time's sake, I'm going to take it out, put it on a baking sheet, and then I'm going to finish it off in the oven. So basically what you're seeing here, the chicken isn't all the way cooked through, but it'll finish in the oven. The whole purpose of this was just to give it a nice crust. Alright, now make sure you take a few minutes to let your pan get back up to temperature. And in the same pan, now I'm going in with my shrimp. I'm going to do the same thing I did with the chicken. I'm just going to make sure they're all touching the surface, give them a nice crust, and they're going to go into the oven as well. I already have my chicken in the oven, so being that the chicken is going to cook a little bit slower than the shrimp, that's why I put the chicken in the oven, and then I'm going to pull that out, throw the shrimp up there, and then let them finish cooking together. It's not going to take long, probably like 5 minutes. And just remember, your shrimp is going to cook. Don't overcook them in the pan. You just want to try to get a nice little crust on them if you can. Alright, here I am removing the shrimp. They're going on the same baking sheet as the chicken, and I'm just going to throw those in the oven for a couple minutes. The chicken is pretty much already cooked. The shrimp is only going to take a couple of minutes. I had my oven preheated at 450 degrees, so it's not going to take long at all. But whatever you do, try not to overcook your shrimp. Alright, because the shrimp has to go back into the sauce, and you do not want your shrimp to be rubbery. Alright, now I'm going in with my herbs, my diced onions, my chopped garlic, and I'm going to save some of the herbs just for garnish. Alright, so these ain't going to take long. I just want to get the onions translucent. and the herbs starting to get the flavors all mixed in. All right, as you can see, onions are starting to get a little bit translucent. I'm actually going to caramelize them just a little bit. And you know, I have the fresh thyme sprigs in there, but I'm just going to saute them up. That's going to add flavor to the pan, and then I'm going to remove those so you know, nobody gets a whole twig of thyme while they're eating their food. All right here you can see me deglazing the pan with some white wine. And I just got an inexpensive cooking wine from the store. You don't have to go crazy, but it's been said the better the wine, the better the recipe will turn out. But, you know, from my experience, any white wine will do. All right. So right now I'm letting everything reduce down pretty much by half. That's going to build the flavor. And then once it reduces down by half, as you can see, I'm adding the heavy cream. And now I'm going to let the heavy cream reduce down about, you know, maybe about a third. And when you're reducing liquids, especially liquids that after you deglaze the pan, that's what kind of gives a more concentrated flavor to whatever sauce or soup or gravy that you're making. I just added in some grated parmesan cheese. That's going to help thicken it up. That's also going to give it that Alfredo flavor that everybody wants, that nice, rich, creamy flavor. All right here I'm just going to stir it up with my wire whisk just to get the parmesan and everything blended all together. You know, and you can see little spots of oil, but if you stir it enough, everything is going to come together. You know, if you just let it keep cooking like that and you don't stir it, then it's going to separate. The oil is going to separate from the liquid. You don't want that. Right here I'm just adding a little bit of black pepper. Added in a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. That's optional, but I learned over time that Worcestershire sauce kind of just marries all the flavors in. I just put a little bit of salt in, but that's a little trick that I learned a long time ago, to use Worcestershire sauce in my soups, my sauces, my gravies. It just add a little something that people can't put their finger on. All right, I'm adding a little bit of crushed red pepper. And I'm adding a little bit more Cajun seasoning spice. Want to make sure everything is flavored. The sauce is flavored, the chicken, the shrimp. All right, so now I'm just going back to stirring everything in. And like I said, you know, by stirring with a wire whisk, you're going to emulsify the oil in with the cream, and it's going to give it more flavor. All right, so right here you see it's probably reduced down by a third. That Parmesan's kicking in and got it nice and thick. And so I'm putting my fettuccine in a bowl. And I know a lot of people, they add it to the pan, but I do mine different. I add it to the bowl, and then I put my sauce in and I just stir it up. All right, just going in a few more herbs and scallions just to give it some color. And then after that, you just take some tongs or a spoon or something like that. I find it easier with tongs. And just make sure you blend that pasta in with your sauce. Always do more sauce, a lot more sauce to pasta, because, you know, for example, if this sits for a while, it's just going to continue to cook and get thicker. And then especially if you have leftovers the next day, you want it to stay creamy. You don't want it to be too much pasta and not enough sauce. All right, here I'm adding the shrimp and chicken. I'm gonna save a little bit to throw on top. Just making sure everything is mixed really good. And now I'm just doing a quick plate up. Throwing a little bit of chicken and shrimp on top. just garnishing up the plate. You know, as a chef, you know, even when I cook at home, I make sure I garnish everything. You know, always presentation is half of it. But you know, when people see something, you know, they instantly desire to have it. And trust me, just make sure you always try to present your food as nice as possible. You know, if it's just for you, then no biggie. But when you're, you know, especially in a situation where I'm making a video for y'all, but I know y'all want to see it look nice, but you know, I do the same thing for my wife, my mother-in-law, for my mom. Just make sure that whatever I give them, I always present it nice to them too. All right, just do some diced tomatoes up there for color. That's optional. Just wiping the edge of the plate. Make sure, you know, nice presentation. All right, here we go. Finished product: Cajun shrimp and chicken pasta Alfredo. So once again, thanks for watching the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to see more recipes like these. Also hit that notification bell and also smash that like button. It really helps the channel. Also, you can follow me on Facebook and join my Facebook group, and you can also check me out on Instagram. So on that note, once again, this is Cooking and Grilling with Karl. I'm Chef Karl. God bless, and I hope to catch you on the next video. Peace.